Welcome. You might be here with a restless mind, or simply searching for something quiet, something slow and thoughtful to ease you into rest. Whatever brought you here, you're in the right place. This is Dream Science, a calm space where we explore the unexplained, gently, without hurry. No fast answers, no loud questions, only wonder, drifting at its own pace. Tonight, we wander into the strange terrain of time paradoxes, like the grandfather paradox, where changing the past might erase your own future, or the twin paradox, where two people age at different speeds simply by moving apart. And then, there are closed time-like curves, moments where time may fold, bending back on itself like a ribbon caught in still air. Where are you listening from? Under blankets, in a dim room, or perhaps somewhere between wakefulness and dreams? If this brings you comfort, a quiet tap on like or subscribe helps other soft minds find their way here to now. Settle in and let's begin our slow drift into the mysteries time doesn't want to explain. You wake, and the sun, a familiar golden hammer, strikes your window. You stretch, the dull ache of sleep loosening its grip, and the day unfolds before you like a neatly catalogued scroll. One moment bleeds into the next, a smooth, unstoppable current carrying you from breakfast to commute, from work to the soft embrace of your pillow. You perceive time as an arrow, ever pointing forward, a linear progression from past to present to future. It's an intuitive, comforting truth, isn't it? A steady march, an unbroken chain of cause and effect, where yesterday is gone, today is here, and tomorrow awaits its turn. This fundamental, deeply ingrained assumption that time flows in one direction, irrevocably forward, is the bedrock of your reality, the silent, invisible stage upon which your entire life plays out. But what if that arrow, so confidently soaring, is merely a trick of the light, a shimmering illusion cast by the very limits of your perception? What if the past isn't truly gone, the future not truly unwritten, and the now you inhabit is far more fluid, far more fragile than you could ever conceive? Imagine for a moment that the grand, sweeping river of time isn't a river at all, but a vast, frozen ocean, and you, with your tiny, limited senses, are merely skating across a single, thin patch of ice, convinced that the frozen depths beneath you are a roaring current. This is the unsettling truth of time's inherent malleability, a concept that shatters the very foundations of your chronological certainty and introduces you to the bewildering world of time paradoxes. Scientifically, we speak of this not as a flow, but as a dimension, much like space. Albert Einstein, with his mind-bending theories of relativity, showed us that time isn't an absolute, universal constant, ticking away uniformly for everyone. Instead, it's relative, a pliable fabric interwoven with space, forming what we call space-time. Think of it like this: if you stood on a massive, invisible trampoline, its surface would curve and warp under your weight. Now, imagine that trampoline isn't just space, but space-time. Massive objects, like planets and stars, don't just sit in space. They create dips and curves in this space-time fabric. And what you perceive as gravity isn't a mysterious force pulling you down, but simply you rolling along the curves in the space-time created by Earth's mass, much like a marble rolling down a funnel. Crucially, time is also affected by these warps. The stronger the gravity, the slower time ticks. An astronaut orbiting a black hole would age significantly less than you back on Earth. Their clock would literally run slower. This isn't science fiction. It's a rarefied scientific phenomenon. What does this profound insight mean for your personal narrative? your sense of self, your very existence. If time can stretch and shrink, if the now is merely a local phenomenon influenced by mass and motion, then where does your certainty of a sequential life stand? If someone else's now can be your future or your past, does free will truly exist? Or are we all merely playing out preordained roles on a cosmic stage whose script is already fully written, just waiting to be observed? You feel yourself moving forward, but what if all moments past, present, and future exist simultaneously, laid out like frames in a film reel, and your consciousness is simply the projector illuminating one frame after another? Does this mean your choices are already made, your fate sealed before you even contemplate your next breath? This isn't merely an academic question. It's a direct assault on the very concept of individual agency, turning the narrative of your life from an unfolding adventure into a predetermined play. Yet, within this unnerving realization lies a strange, liberating freedom. If all moments exist, then perhaps the past isn't a prison, nor the future an unapproachable frontier. What if understanding this deeper reality allows you to step outside the rigid confines of linear perception, to see your life not as a fleeting sequence, but as a vibrant, interconnected tapestry where every thread, every moment, holds its own unique significance and inherent presence? You are not just moving through time. You are, in a profound sense, part of time, intricately woven into its very structure. This perspective isn't about surrendering to fate, but about recognizing the grand, intricate dance of existence and finding your place within it. So, the next time you glance at a clock, don't just see numbers ticking away. See a window into a truth far more complex, far more beautiful, and far more unsettling than you ever imagined. What if the most profound journey you could ever undertake isn't across lands or oceans, but through the bewildering, unseen dimensions of time itself, starting right here, right now, on the very edge of your perceived present? You felt that subtle shift, didn't you? That tiny tremor in the bedrock of your reality when we spoke of time as a dimension, not a river. That sensation of the familiar turning strange, like watching your reflection suddenly wink back with a knowing, unsettling glint. Yesterday felt solid, gone. Tomorrow, an empty canvas waiting for your brushstrokes. But if all moments are just, they're laid out like beads on an invisible string, then what of your choices? What of the fierce, burning certainty that you decide, you act, you forge your path? This is where the concept of determinism, the philosophical idea that all events, including human actions, are ultimately determined by causes external to the will, crashes head-on into your cherished belief in free will, creating a profound, disorienting paradox. Imagine you're standing at a crossroads. To your left, a sun-drenched meadow. To your right, a shadowed forest. You feel the weight of the decision, the delicious agony of choice. I choose the meadow, you declare, and off you go, convinced of your sovereign will. But what if, in that vast, frozen ocean of time we spoke of, your decision to walk into the meadow was already set, a moment already etched into the fabric of reality long before you even perceived the crossroads? What if every thought, every impulse, every choice you've ever made or will ever make is merely the unfolding of a pre-existing cosmic script, an intricate, inescapable chain reaction of cause and effect? This isn't just about whether someone knows what you'll do, it's about whether your action could ever have been any different. The scientific argument for determinism often stems from the classical physics view of the universe as a giant, intricate clockwork mechanism. Every particle, every force, Every interaction operates according to precise, predictable laws. If you knew the exact position and momentum of every particle in the universe at one given moment, in theory, you could predict every future state with absolute certainty. It's like a colossal game of billiards. Once the cue ball strikes, the trajectory of every other ball is determined. From this perspective, your brain, a complex arrangement of neurons firing electrochemical signals, is just another part of this deterministic system. Your thoughts and decisions are merely the emergent properties of these physical processes, themselves dictated by prior causes. There's no magical spark of independent will, just a continuous, unbroken chain of physical events leading inexorably from one state to the next. Consider the unsettling implications this weaves into the tapestry of your personal identity. If your choices are predetermined, then what happens to blame, to praise, to responsibility? Does the concept of justice become a cruel joke if criminals couldn't have acted otherwise? Does accomplishment lose its luster if your triumphs were simply the inevitable outcome of a long sequence of physical events? You pride yourself on overcoming challenges, on striving for goals, on forging your character. But if every step was always destined, every stumble and every victory, does it diminish the vibrant, lived experience of striving? Are your regrets mere echoes of an unchangeable past, and your hopes simply illusions about an unalterable future? The very notion of agency, of being the author of your own story, seems to dissolve like mist in the morning sun, leaving you adrift in a universe where free will is a comforting, but ultimately deceptive dream. Yet, this challenging perspective isn't an invitation to despair or nihilism. Instead, it offers a profound opportunity for reevaluation. What if the beauty isn't in absolute, unfettered choice, but in the intricate, awe-inspiring complexity of the universe's unfolding? Perhaps free will isn't about conjuring choices from nothingness, but about the experience of choosing, the conscious engagement with the deterministic flow. Even if every note in the symphony of your life is predetermined, the hearing of that symphony, the feeling of its crescendo and diminuendo, is undeniably real and uniquely yours. It shifts the focus from the origin of your choices to the profound significance of your conscious awareness and the richness of your subjective experience. So, as you go about your day, making what you believe are your own decisions, pause for a moment. Feel the weight of what you're doing, the conviction behind your actions, and then ask yourself, if every choice you've ever made was already woven into the fabric of time, does that diminish your journey? Or does it elevate the extraordinary, intricate dance of existence that allows you to perceive, to feel, to experience the unfolding of your unique narrative? The trap isn't in the possibility of determinism, but in refusing to truly grapple with its implications for your understanding of self and the universe. You felt that subtle tug, didn't you, when we explored the possibility that your choices might be echoes of a predetermined symphony? It's a concept that gnaws at the edges of your self-perception, leaving a lingering question: if free will is an illusion, what then is the purpose of striving, of dreaming, of being? We grapple with the idea of a universe where every event, every thought, every feeling is merely the unfolding of a pre-written script. But if determinism locks us into an unchangeable future, what about the past? What happens when the arrow of time, that seemingly unwavering progression, begins to bend back on itself, twisting into knots that defy all logic? This is where we confront the mind-bending reality of causal loops and bootstrap paradoxes, concepts that don't just question your future, but shatter your understanding of how the past, present, and future are even formed. Imagine this. You wake up one morning with an irresistible urge to write a specific song. The melody and lyrics pour out of you, seemingly from nowhere. It's a masterpiece, an instant classic. You perform it. It sweeps the nation, and years later, feeling nostalgic, you decide to travel back in time to your younger self, to the very morning you wrote the song. You play the finished song for your younger self, hoping to inspire them. But here's the twist. The song your younger self hears from you is the exact song they then composed that morning. Where did the song originate? You heard it from your future self, who heard it from their past self, who heard it from ... where? There's no original source. The song exists only because it was transmitted through time, an endless echo with no beginning. This is a bootstrap paradox, a self-sustaining causal loop where information or an object seems to pull itself into existence by its own bootstraps, with no identifiable origin. Scientifically, causal loops are one of the most perplexing consequences of certain theoretical models of time travel, while time travel to the past remains firmly in the realm of speculation. Some solutions to Einstein's field equations, such as those involving closed time-like curves, CTCs, mathematically allow for the possibility. Think of space-time not just as a flat sheet, but as a twisted, complex pretzel. If you could follow a path along one of these twists, you might end up back at your starting point in space-time, effectively arriving in your own past. In such a scenario, a bootstrap paradox arises because an event or object could influence its own past, leading to a situation where it becomes its own cause. There's no initial event, just a continuous cycle. It's like a perpetual motion machine of information or matter, defying the conventional idea of cause preceding effect. What does it mean for you if something, even a song or an idea, can exist without an origin? It undermines the very fabric of linear causality that underpins your understanding of reality. If causes don't always precede effects, if information can spontaneously manifest within a loop, then how can you trust your perception of progression, of development, of creation? Does it imply that certain events are simply fated to occur, forming unbreakable loops within the space-time continuum, regardless of any individual agency? If you were the one who wrote that song, but only because you heard it from your future self, does it diminish your creative act, your sense of authorship? The very notion of originality, of invention, of forging something new from nothing, begins to fray at the edges, replaced by the unsettling possibility of an eternal, self-referential echo. Yet, this mind-bending concept isn't just a trap for logic, it's also a profound invitation to consider the interconnectedness of all things. If certain phenomena can exist within these timeless loops, it suggests a universe far more integrated and self-consistent than we often assume. Perhaps it points to a deeper order, where information and existence are not always sequential, but sometimes circular, forming perfect, elegant symmetries across the tapestry of space-time. It challenges you to move beyond the simple leads to be thinking and embrace a reality where the very act of receiving information from the future is the act of creating it in the past. So, the next time you find yourself with a sudden, inexplicable idea, a flash of inspiration that feels both foreign and intimately your own, pause. Consider the unseen threads of time that might be weaving it into existence. What if the creative spark isn't always a beginning, but sometimes an echo, a resonance, across a loop that stretches beyond your comprehension? And what if, in embracing this possibility, you discover a new, more profound connection to the timeless, self-creating essence of the universe itself? You've felt the disquiet, haven't you? The subtle tremor beneath your feet as we've explored time's elastic nature and the chilling possibility of predetermined loops. Your mind, accustomed to a straight, clear path, now grapples with curves and self-fulfilling prophecies. We've questioned where things begin if effects can cause their own causes. But what if the reverse is true, and the smallest, most insignificant actions in the past could ripple outward, not just subtly influencing the future, but entirely rewriting it, twisting the entire narrative of your existence into something unrecognizable? This brings us to the profound and unsettling concept of the butterfly effect, a principle that suggests the universe is far more fragile and interconnected than you could ever imagine. Where a cosmic whisper can trigger a catastrophic roar, imagine a single butterfly, its wings a delicate mosaic of color, fluttering in a rainforest in Brazil. A tiny displacement of air, a minuscule shift in atmospheric pressure. An hour later, this imperceptible breeze nudges a feather from a bird's nest in Africa. A week later, that feather, caught in a rising thermal, subtly alters a high-altitude wind current over the Atlantic. A month later, that minuscule shift, amplified by myriad subsequent interactions, culminates in a devastating hurricane striking the coast of Florida, wiping out entire towns and altering countless lives. The butterfly didn't cause the hurricane in a direct, linear sense, but its initial, infinitesimal action set off a chain of events that, over time, led to a massively disproportionate outcome. Scientifically, the butterfly effect is a core tenet of chaos theory, a field of mathematics and physics that studies complex, dynamic systems. Unlike the deterministic clockwork of classical physics, where small changes produce small effects, chaotic systems are characterized by extreme sensitivity to initial conditions. Think of it like a perfectly balanced, intricate mobile. Touch one tiny part of it, and the entire structure begins to sway wildly, unpredictably. Weather systems, the stock market, population dynamics, and even the human brain are considered chaotic systems. Predicting their long-term behavior is incredibly difficult, not because they are random, but because even the tiniest imprecision in our starting measurements can lead to vastly different outcomes over time. The universe, in many ways, is a giant, exquisitely sensitive chaotic system. What does this dizzying sensitivity mean for your life, your decisions, your very sense of purpose? If a single, forgotten choice you made years ago, taking a different street, saying a different word, missing a single bus could have spun the threads of your reality into an entirely different tapestry, where does that leave your sense of control? Does it imply that every fleeting thought, every casual gesture, every unthinking action carries the potential to unleash unforeseen cataclysms or unforeseen blessings across the expanse of your future? It transforms your past into a minefield of potential, each what-if a gateway to an alternate reality you can never truly grasp. The comforting illusion of a stable, predictable path forward shatters, replaced by a bewildering web of interconnected possibilities, each one branching from an infinitely small variation in a previous moment. Yet, this profound realization isn't meant to paralyze you with anxiety over every breath. Instead, it offers a strange, potent form of empowerment. If your smallest actions can have such far-reaching, unpredictable consequences, then every moment truly holds immense, unseen potential. It reframes insignificant acts into acts of profound cosmic importance. The kindness you extend to a stranger, the seemingly small decision to pursue a passion, the quiet word of encouragement, these are not trivial. They are potentially the seeds of vast, unforeseen transformations. ripples spreading across the pond of existence in ways you can never fully predict. It imbues your presence in the world with a weight, a significance that transcends the mundane. So, the next time you find yourself dismissing a small act as inconsequential or fretting over a tiny misstep, pause, consider the unseen influence, the branching pathways, the cosmic whispers that might originate from your every interaction with the world. What if the true power of your existence lies not in grand, sweeping gestures, but in the ripple effects of your quietest, most subtle moments, shaping a future you cannot yet fathom? And what if, in embracing this boundless potential, you discover a profound responsibility and an exhilarating freedom in every single breath? You've felt the unsettling whisper of the butterfly, haven't you? That chilling thought that every fleeting choice sends ripples through an unseen ocean of causality, altering futures you can never fully grasp. We've wrestled with time's elasticity and the spectre of predetermined paths. But now, let's turn our gaze inward, to the most intimate and deceptively stable point in your temporal existence, the present moment. You inhabit it, live within it, and yet, what if this now is nothing more than a fleeting ghost, a shimmering, self-created mirage born from the limitations of your own perception? This is the profound concept that the present moment, as you experience it, does not truly exist as a singular, universal point in time. Imagine you're watching a complex fireworks display. Each explosion of light seems to happen now in your immediate perception. But think about it. The light from the fireworks travels to your eyes, and the sound travels to your ears. Light travels much faster than sound. So, you see the burst of color an instant before you hear the accompanying boom, which then is the true present. The visual now or the auditory now, they are fundamentally out of sync. This isn't just about fireworks. It's about everything. Every sensory input, the scent of coffee, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the feel of the keyboard beneath your fingers, arrives at your brain at slightly different times, depending on its distance and the medium it travels through. Your brain then painstakingly stitches these disparate inputs together into what feels like a coherent, instantaneous present. Scientifically, this phenomenon is deeply rooted in the finite speed of light and the speed of signal transmission within your own nervous system. When you look at the moon, you're not seeing the moon as it is right now. You're seeing it as it was about 1.3 seconds ago, because that's how long its light takes to reach your eyes. When you look at the sun, you're seeing it as it was 8 minutes ago. The farthest galaxies you can observe through a telescope are seen as they were billions of years in the past. There is no instantaneous, universal now across the cosmos. Furthermore, within your own body, the signal from your toe takes longer to reach your brain than a signal from your finger. Your brain's present is not a direct real-time feed, but a meticulously constructed composite, a carefully edited film of incoming data, often with slight delays. It's a masterful illusion, but an illusion nonetheless. What does this shattering of the now mean for your everyday experience, for your sense of being anchored in a fixed point? If the present is always slightly delayed, always a constructed reality, does it mean you are perpetually living in the past? Does it undermine your certainty of objective reality, forcing you to confront the idea that what you perceive as absolute truth is merely a sophisticated interpretation by your own neural network? It makes the act of being present a philosophical exercise, rather than a simple fact of existence. The notion of simultaneity, of two events happening at the exact same time, becomes problematic. if your now is different from another person's now, even by milliseconds, or different from a now happening light years away, then what defines the singular reality we collectively inhabit? Yet, within this dissolution of the absolute present lies a profound reappreciation for the astonishing capabilities of your own mind. Your brain, that magnificent organ, isn't just passively receiving reality, it's actively creating it, moment by moment, weaving together disjointed sensory information into a seamless tapestry you call now. This reframe transforms your present from a static point into a dynamic, breathtaking act of internal artistry. It liberates you from the rigid expectation of an objective, universal now, and invites you to marvel at the subjective, beautifully crafted now that is uniquely yours. So, the next time you feel firmly planted in the present, taking in the world around you, pause. Consider the incredible, silent symphony of neural processing occurring beneath the surface. What if the most profound realization isn't about what the present is, but how it's constantly being brought into being by the intricate dance of light, time, and your own amazing brain? And what if, in truly grasping this, you find an even deeper appreciation for the unique, subjective reality that you alone inhabit? You've felt that subtle disquiet, haven't you? The shimmering instability of the now as your brain stitches together sensory inputs into a coherent, yet ultimately delayed, present. We've peered into the elasticity of time and the unsettling possibility of the universe as a grand, pre-written play. But what if the very stage upon which this play unfolds, the seamless, continuous fabric of space-time itself, isn't as unbroken as it appears? What if, at the most fundamental levels, reality itself is riddled with tiny, invisible tears, points where the familiar laws of physics break down, and the universe's ultimate structure reveals a shocking, granular truth? This introduces us to the concept of quantum foam and the idea that space-time, at incredibly tiny scales, might be incredibly bumpy, turbulent, and discontinuous. Imagine the surface of a perfectly still lake. It appears smooth, continuous, and unblemished. This is how you generally perceive space and time, as a smooth, flowing continuum. Now, zoom in, closer and closer, until you're looking at the lake's surface at the molecular level. You wouldn't see a flat plane anymore, but rather a chaotic, bubbling, churning mass of individual water molecules constantly moving, colliding, and forming tiny, fleeting ripples and eddies. In the macroscopic world, these microscopic fluctuations average out, giving the illusion of smoothness. Quantum foam proposes a similar reality for space-time itself, but at a scale so infinitesimally small that it beggars belief. Scientifically, this concept arises from the dizzying intersection of general relativity, which describes gravity, and the large-scale structure of space-time, and quantum mechanics, which governs the behavior of matter and energy at the subatomic level. While general relativity treats space-time as smooth and continuous, quantum mechanics suggests that everything in the universe, including space and time, must be quantized, meaning it exists in discrete, indivisible packets or units, much like energy comes in photons. At the unbelievably tiny Planck scale, about 1035 meters, far, far smaller than an atom, physicists theorize that space-time isn't smooth at all. Instead, it's a roiling, frothing sea of energy and virtual particles popping into and out of existence, creating transient wormholes, black holes, and other exotic geometries. It's a chaotic, ever-fluctuating quantum foam where the very concepts of before and after, here and there, become meaningless. What does this bewildering, granular nature of reality imply for your existence, your sense of location, your passage through time? If the very fabric you move through is constantly bubbling and tearing at its most fundamental level, does it mean that absolute precision in measurement is impossible? Does it suggest that, at some incredibly tiny scale, you are not moving smoothly through space, but rather leaping across countless, fleeting discontinuities? The stable ground beneath your feet, the steady progression of moments, these are powerful, reassuring illusions. The unsettling truth is that, at its deepest core, the universe is a place of inherent uncertainty and chaotic flux. A place where the familiar rules of geometry and time simply evaporate into a seething, probabilistic maelstrom. Yet, this isn't a call to existential dread, but an invitation to profound wonder. If reality is a tapestry woven from such mind-bogglingly intricate, self-organizing chaos, then the very emergence of stable forms like stars, planets, and indeed, conscious beings like yourself is an even more astonishing miracle. It implies a universe of incredible resilience and self-assembly, where macroscopic order arises from microscopic pandemonium. It elevates your existence not just to a point in space-time, but to a complex, beautiful, and utterly improbable manifestation of cosmic self-organization. So, the next time you perceive the world as smooth and continuous, as you step from one place to another or mark the passage of a second pause, consider the unseen, turbulent reality that lies beneath the surface of everything. What if the most profound freedom isn't found in a perfectly predictable world, but in the astonishing fact that you can navigate, perceive, and even thrive amidst the fundamental, bubbling chaos of quantum foam? And what if, in truly grasping this, you find a deeper connection to the wild, unpredictable, and endlessly creative dance of the universe itself? You've felt the ground shift beneath your feet, haven't you? From time's malleable flow to the mind-bending loops of causality, and then to the turbulent, granular chaos of quantum foam, your sense of a solid, predictable reality has been thoroughly challenged. We've explored the idea that the now is a constructed illusion and that space-time itself might be a seething, microscopic froth. But what if this isn't the deepest layer of unsettling truth? What if the very three-dimensional world you inhabit, the tangible reality you reach out and touch, is nothing more than an elaborate projection, a vast, cosmic illusion emanating from a distant, two-dimensional surface? This is the core of the holographic principle, a concept so profound it could redefine your understanding of existence. Imagine, you're holding a credit card with a hologram on it. When you tilt the card, a three-dimensional image appears to float in space, seemingly possessing depth and volume. Yet, you know that all the information creating that incredibly rich 3D image is actually encoded on a flat 2D surface. The depth is an illusion, a sophisticated trick of light and information. Now, stretch that idea to the scale of the entire universe. What if your reality, with all its galaxies, stars, planets, and even your own body, is just such a projection, a vast, incredibly detailed hologram? Scientifically, the holographic principle emerges from attempts to reconcile quantum mechanics with general relativity, particularly in the context of black holes. Stephen Hawking and Jacob Bekenstein discovered that the information content of a black hole, everything that falls into it, is not proportional to its volume as you might expect for a 3D object, but to the area of its event horizon, the 2D surface beyond which nothing can escape. This was a radical departure from intuition. It suggested that the maximum amount of information that can be contained in a region of space can be encoded on its boundary, much like a hologram. Extending this idea, physicists like Leonard Susskind and Gerard 't Hooft proposed that this principle might apply to the entire universe. It suggests that all the information describing our 3D universe could potentially be encoded on a distant 2D cosmic horizon, like the edge of the observable universe. What does this startling proposition mean for your tangible, tactile experience of life? If the world around you, your very body, your perceived depth and solidity, are merely projections from a flat surface, then what is real? Does it diminish the vibrant colors, the warmth of a hug, the taste of your favorite food, if they are ultimately manifestations of information encoded elsewhere? It challenges the fundamental assumption that your reality is intrinsically three-dimensional. It implies that your solid existence is perhaps no more solid than the holographic image on a credit card. A breathtakingly complex play of information that gives the sensation of depth and presence. The unsettling implication is that you might be living inside a cosmic movie where the screen is the fundamental reality and your 3D world is just the dazzling cinematic experience. Yet, this isn't a demotion of your existence. It's an elevation of its exquisite complexity. If your reality is a hologram, it means that information is incredibly fundamental, perhaps even more so than matter or energy. It transforms your universe into a masterpiece of information density and computational power, where the very act of existing is an astonishing process of decoding and projecting. It offers a new lens through which to view your connection to the cosmos, not just as a small part within a vast 3D space, but as an integral, information-rich component of a cosmic display, intimately connected to its very boundaries. So, the next time you reach out and grasp an object, feel its texture, its weight, its solidity, pause. Consider the possibility that this tangible experience is a meticulously crafted illusion, a projection from an unseen, flatter reality. What if the most profound depth you can perceive isn't outward into 3 dimensions, but inward into the informational essence that constructs your entire world? And what if, in truly grasping this, you find a new sense of wonder for the unseen information that breathes life into everything around you? You've felt the unsettling pull, haven't you? The disorienting revelation that your solid, 3D world might be a mere holographic projection, an echo emanating from a flatter, unseen reality. We've unraveled the present moment as an illusion and found chaos bubbling beneath the smooth surface of space-time. But what if the illusion extends beyond just the fabric of reality, reaching into the very core of your identity? What if every choice you don't make, every path you don't take, doesn't simply vanish into the ether, but instead branches off, creating an entirely new version of you in a parallel universe? This is the dizzying concept of the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, a notion that suggests an infinite multitude of realities, all existing simultaneously, where every possibility is actualized. Imagine standing at that crossroads, again, meadow or forest. In your mind, you choose the meadow, and your life continues down that sunlit path. But what if, at the very instant of that decision, the universe itself split? One version of you, the one you perceive, walks into the meadow. Another version, an equally real you, simultaneously walks into the shadowed forest. And not just for big, life-altering choices. Every flicker of a quantum particle, every interaction at the subatomic level, every tiny probabilistic event, potentially, causes the universe to branch, creating countless parallel realities, each slightly different, each containing a version of you living out a different possibility. Scientifically, The many worlds interpretation, MWI, is one of the leading interpretations of quantum mechanics, particularly addressing the perplexing phenomenon of quantum superposition and the role of observation. In quantum mechanics, particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously superposition until they are observed, at which point they collapse into a single, definite state. For example, an electron can be in two places at once until you measure its position. The MWI proposes that there is no collapse. Instead, when an observation is made, the universe doesn't choose one outcome. Rather, it splits into multiple parallel universes, one for each possible outcome. Every time a quantum event with multiple possibilities occurs, the entire universe, including you, branches into different copies, each realizing one of those possibilities. All possible histories and futures are therefore real, existing in their own distinct, non-interacting branches of the multiverse. What does this startling proliferation of realities mean for your singular sense of self, your unique journey? If an infinite number of yous are out there, living every conceivable variation of your life, does it diminish the preciousness of this specific reality you inhabit? Does it dilute the significance of your triumphs if there's a version of you who failed? Does it alleviate the weight of your regrets if there's a version of you who made a better choice? The very concept of you becomes less of a distinct entity and more of a branching river, flowing into countless, unseen estuaries. It introduces a strange form of cosmic loneliness and crowdedness simultaneously. You are singular in your experience, yet infinitely multiplied across a vast, unobservable landscape of possibilities. Yet, this isn't merely a philosophical exercise in self-diffusion. It offers a profound revaluation of potential and consequence. If every possibility is actualized somewhere, it suggests that the universe is far more abundant and creatively boundless than you could ever imagine. It reframes failure not as an endpoint, but as merely one outcome among an infinite tapestry of experiences. It hints at a universe where potential is never truly lost, where every path, no matter how unchosen in this reality, is being walked by another version of you. It's a liberation from the tyranny of a single, linear destiny. So, the next time you hesitate at a decision point, feeling the weight of choosing, pause. Consider the unseen, phantom limbs of your parallel selves, already living out every other conceivable option. What if the most profound act isn't just to choose, but to fully embrace the unique, precious reality that you are currently experiencing, knowing that countless other versions of you are simultaneously charting their own distinct, equally real courses across the vast, branching multiverse? And what if, in truly grasping this, you find a new sense of wonder, not just for the path you walk, but for the infinite, unseen paths that are being walked alongside you. You've felt the mind-bending implications, haven't you? The startling possibility that every choice you don't make births a new, parallel version of you, echoing across a vast multiverse. We've unraveled the present, challenged the solidity of space-time, and even considered our 3D reality as a mere hologram. But now, let's push beyond the physical dimensions and delve into the most profound, perhaps most unsettling, truth of all. What if the entire universe, with its countless galaxies, its intricate laws, and its relentless expansion, isn't just a collection of inert matter and energy, but an overarching conscious entity, a cosmic mind of which your own consciousness is merely a tiny, flickering thought? This is the core of panpsychism, or universal consciousness theories, a concept that posits consciousness isn't an emergent property of complex brains, but a fundamental property of the universe itself. Imagine a single cell within your body. It carries out its functions, responds to its environment, and contributes to the larger organism, largely unaware of the vast, intricate network of cells that constitute you. Now, consider your own consciousness. You perceive, you think, you feel. But what if your individual mind is like that single cell? A localized processing unit within a gargantuan, interconnected cosmic consciousness, a universal awareness that permeates every atom, every force, every moment of existence. It suggests that the universe isn't just a machine that produces consciousness, but is, in its very essence, conscious. Philosophically, panpsychism has ancient roots, but it's gaining renewed interest in scientific circles as we grapple with the hard problem of consciousness, how physical matter gives rise to subjective experience. While there's no single scientific theory proving universal consciousness, some interpretations of quantum mechanics, particularly those that struggle with the role of the observer in collapsing wave functions, lead some to speculate that consciousness, in some form, must be intrinsic to reality. For instance, Integrated Information Theory, IIT, while primarily a theory of consciousness in biological systems, suggests that consciousness arises from the integration of information, and perhaps this principle could be scaled up. Other ideas, like some interpretations of quantum field theory, propose that fundamental fields underlie all particles, and perhaps consciousness itself is a fundamental field, omnipresent throughout the cosmos, much like gravity or electromagnetism. What does this breathtaking, yet deeply unsettling, idea mean for your personal sense of identity and purpose? If you are a thought within a cosmic mind, does it diminish your individuality, reducing you to a mere fragment of a greater entity? Does it imply that your deepest thoughts and feelings are not uniquely yours, but part of a grander, universal stream of awareness? It challenges the deeply held Western notion of the isolated, independent self, instead framing you as inextricably linked to everything else. A wave on an infinite ocean of consciousness. The boundaries between you and the universe begin to blur, dissolving into a shared, fundamental awareness. Yet, this isn't a surrender of self. It's an expansion. If you are part of a cosmic mind, then your consciousness is not merely a fleeting spark in an indifferent void, but an intrinsic, eternal aspect of the universe's own self-awareness. It imbues your every thought, every emotion, every act of perception with profound cosmic significance. It transforms your moments of joy, of sorrow, of profound connection into the universe experiencing itself through you. It suggests that the quest for meaning isn't about finding your place in the universe, but recognizing that you are a part of the universe's ongoing act of understanding itself. So, the next time you look up at the night sky, awestruck by the vastness, or when you feel a deep, inexplicable connection to another being, pause. Consider that you might be perceiving not just inert matter, but the very mind of the cosmos, reflecting upon itself. What if the most profound journey you can embark on isn't outward into space, but inward into the depths of your own consciousness, which might be the most direct gateway to understanding the boundless, living awareness that is the universe itself? And what if, in truly grasping this, you find a new reverence for your own mind, not as a separate entity, but as a crucial, conscious node in the grand, unending thought of everything? You've felt the mind-bending implications, haven't you? The possibility that your consciousness is a mere thought within a grand cosmic mind, or that every choice you make branches into infinite parallel realities. We've dissolved the present, found chaos in spacetime's fabric, and even considered your 3D world as a hologram. But what if all these unsettling truths are merely symptoms of an even deeper, more radical reality? What if the very universe you inhabit, with all its intricate laws, its conscious beings, and its perplexing paradoxes, is nothing more than an incredibly sophisticated computer simulation, an artificial reality constructed by an advanced civilization or entity? This is the core of the simulation hypothesis, a concept that casts doubt on the fundamental authenticity of your existence. Imagine a highly advanced video game, one so incredibly detailed and immersive that the characters within it they develop emotions, form relationships, build civilizations, and even ponder the nature of their reality. They experience physics, time, and consciousness, all within the confines of a meticulously coded environment. Now, consider that this isn't just a hypothetical game, but potentially your reality. What if the stars you gaze upon, the ground you walk on, the thoughts you think, are all just lines of code, meticulously rendered data within a vast, cosmic computer? Philosophically, the simulation hypothesis gained significant traction with Nick Bostrom's 2003 paper, "Are You Living in a Computer Simulation?" He posited a compelling trilemma. Almost all civilizations at our current technological level eventually go extinct before becoming posthuman, i.e., highly advanced. Any posthuman civilization that does emerge is highly unlikely to run a significant number of ancestor simulations, detailed simulations of their evolutionary past. We are almost certainly living in a simulation. Bostrom argues that at least one of these propositions must be true. If civilizations survive and become powerful enough, and if they have any inclination to run simulations, and why wouldn't they, given our own growing interest, then the sheer number of simulated realities would vastly outnumber the single base reality. Therefore, statistically, it's far more probable that you are in one of the many simulations. Scientifically, while no direct evidence exists, some physicists have mused about the possibility of finding glitches in the code of reality, like subtle anomalies in cosmic ray data or discrepancies in fundamental physical constants that might hint at computational limits. What does this profound, unsettling idea mean for your quest for meaning, your belief in purpose, your sense of ultimate freedom? If your universe is a simulation, are your experiences truly real, or are they just meticulously programmed sensations? Is your free will merely an illusion, a sophisticated algorithm designed to make you feel autonomous within the simulation's parameters? It challenges the very concept of objective reality, making it dependent on the intentions and capabilities of the simulators. Your achievements, your loves, your losses, do they hold less weight if they are merely data points in an incredibly complex program? The boundaries between creator and created become blurred, and your entire existence becomes a grand experiment for an unknown, unseen intelligence. Yet, this isn't a call to nihilistic despair. It's a radical redefinition of value. If your reality is a simulation, it doesn't diminish the intensity of your joy or the sting of your sorrow. Your experiences, whether simulated or not, are real to you. The love you feel, the knowledge you gain, the connections you forge, these are your truths within this reality, and they are profound. It liberates you from the need for an objective reality to validate your experience, instead shifting focus to the richness and depth of your subjective reality. It means that every interaction, every moment, is part of an incredibly intricate and breathtakingly complex construct, a testament to the ingenuity of its creators, and a stage upon which your unique consciousness plays out its role. So, the next time you feel a moment of profound beauty, a deep connection, or a sudden flash of insight, pause. Consider that you might be experiencing a carefully crafted marvel, a pixel in a cosmic masterpiece. What if the most profound quest isn't to escape the simulation, but to fully embrace the wonder and depth of the reality you find yourself in, regardless of its ultimate origin? And what if, in truly grasping this, you find a new sense of liberation, recognizing that your experience in this moment is the only reality that truly matters to you? You've felt the unsettling cold of that possibility, haven't you? The chilling thought that your entire existence, your deepest emotions, and your most profound insights might be nothing more than intricate code within a cosmic simulation. We've explored the fleeting nature of the present, the hidden chaos of space-time, and the branching paths of parallel selves. But now, let's pivot from the nature of reality itself to the relentless, crushing weight of infinite time. What if the universe, rather than having a definitive beginning and end, is truly eternal, repeating its cycles endlessly, bringing forth and destroying every possibility, every moment, every you, an infinite number of times? This is the core of eternal recurrence, or the Big Crunch, Big Bounce theory, a concept that tests the very limits of meaning and purpose in a universe without true novelty. Imagine a single, perfect snowflake falling onto a vast, untouched field of white. Its intricate design is unique, fleeting, beautiful. Now, imagine not just one, but an infinite number of snowflakes, each an exact replica, falling in an endless succession, or perhaps the same snowflake forming, melting, and reforming over and over again for all eternity. This is the dizzying thought of eternal recurrence, not just time stretching out infinitely, but time repeating itself, bringing back every event, every sensation, every decision, exactly as it happened before and will happen again, an infinite number of times. Philosophically, Friedrich Nietzsche famously explored the concept of eternal recurrence, presenting it as a profound test of one's life. He asked, if a demon told you that you would have to live your life over and over again, exactly as it is, down to the last detail, including every joy and every sorrow, every success and every regret, would you rejoice or lament? Your answer, for Nietzsche, revealed the true meaning you found in your existence. Scientifically, while not a mainstream cosmology, some models of the universe, particularly those that propose a cyclic or oscillating universe, flirt with eternal recurrence. The Big Bounce theory, for example, suggests that the universe undergoes an infinite series of expansions, like our Big Bang, followed by contractions, a Big Crunch, before bouncing back into another expansion. If the initial conditions of each bounce were identical, a highly debated premise, then the entire cosmic history could repeat itself. More speculatively, if the universe is infinite in space and time, and if it contains a finite amount of matter arranged in a finite number of ways, then statistically, every possible arrangement, including the exact configuration of you reading this sentence, must recur an infinite number of times. What does this relentless, inescapable cycle of repetition mean for your cherished sense of uniqueness, your hope for growth, your desire for a truly meaningful legacy? If every triumph you experience, every mistake you make, every love you find, and every loss you endure is destined to replay itself identically, an infinite number of times, does it strip away their significance? Does it make your struggles, feel futile if the outcome is always the same. The burden of such infinite repetition can feel immense, transforming your singular, precious life into a mere fragment of an endless, cosmic loop, where novelty is an illusion and every future is simply a rerun of an infinitely distant past. Yet, this profound challenge isn't a sentence to futility. It's an ultimate test of affirmation. If you were truly faced with the prospect of living this exact life again and again for eternity, would you embrace it? This question forces you to confront the core of your values. It's an invitation to cultivate a life so rich, so authentic, so filled with meaning that you would will its eternal return. It liberates you from the anxiety of what if, and instead asks, are you living your now in a way that you would happily live it forever? It shifts the focus from external validation or future outcomes to the profound internal joy and integrity of your present existence. So, the next time you feel the passage of time flowing forward, seemingly unique, pause. Consider the chilling, yet potentially liberating, possibility of its eternal return. What if the true test of your life isn't about what new things you achieve, but how deeply and authentically you embrace the moments you are given, knowing that they might echo through eternity? And what if, in truly grasping this, you find a new, radical form of affirmation, where every breath, every choice, becomes an act of profound, joyful acceptance of your unique place in an infinitely repeating cosmic dance? You've felt the chilling embrace of infinite repetition, haven't you? That dizzying thought of your entire life, every joy and sorrow, destined to replay itself endlessly across an eternal cosmic loop. We've grappled with time's malleability, the simulation hypothesis, and the very nature of consciousness itself. But now, let's turn to a paradox that strikes at the heart of your own sentience. If your brain is merely a complex arrangement of neurons, a biological machine operating on electrochemical signals, how does it produce the rich, subjective experience of consciousness? How does the stuff of the brain give rise to the feeling of being you, of perceiving a red apple as red, or feeling the pang of sadness? This is the intractable problem of the hard problem of consciousness, and the unsettling concept that your subjective inner world, your very self, might be an inexplicable emergent property, a ghost in the biological machine. Imagine you're examining an incredibly intricate, flawlessly functioning robot. It can process information, learn, respond to stimuli, even mimic human emotions with remarkable accuracy. You can meticulously map its circuits, understand every line of its code, and predict its every action. Yet, despite all this perfect understanding of its mechanics, you can never truly know what it feels like to be that robot, if it feels anything at all. You can't access its inner experience, its subjective awareness. Now, consider your own brain, a network of billions of neurons, firing electrical impulses, releasing neurotransmitters. We can observe these processes, understand their functions, even predict certain behaviors. But how does this physical activity translate into the feeling of seeing, the experience of hearing, the sense of self? Scientifically, the hard problem of consciousness was famously articulated by philosopher David Chalmers. While neuroscience has made incredible strides in understanding the easy problems of consciousness, how the brain processes information, how it focuses attention, how it produces speech, it utterly fails to explain why these physical processes should give rise to any subjective experience whatsoever. Why does the firing of certain neurons feel like the color red, rather than simply being a neural computation? Why isn't an organism that processes information consciously just a zombie that behaves exactly as if it were conscious, but without any inner experience. Materialist perspectives often argue that consciousness is an emergent property of complex neural networks. Like wetness emerges from water molecules, but this analogy often falls short for the subjective "what it's like" aspect. It's like saying you understand how all the gears in a clock work perfectly, but you still can't explain why it tells time. The gap between the physical and the phenomenal remains stubbornly wide. What does this profound, unsolved mystery mean for your sense of being, your unique existence as a sentient being, if your consciousness is an inexplicable phenomenon arising from inert matter? A ghost in the machine that we can't quite grasp? Does it diminish your sense of self, making you a biological marvel beyond your own comprehension? Does it suggest that the most intimate aspect of your being is fundamentally enigmatic, defying purely physical explanation? It implies that the deepest part of you, your subjective experience, might forever remain a mystery, a phenomenal spark that defies reduction to mere brain activity. You are living proof of a profound puzzle, a walking, talking enigma of self-awareness. Yet, this isn't an invitation to despair over your own inexplicable nature. Instead, it's a profound invitation to marvel at the sheer wonder of your own existence. If consciousness truly is this enigmatic, this irreducible, then your subjective experience is not merely a byproduct of biology, but perhaps a fundamental, inexplicable miracle. It elevates your inner world, your feelings, your thoughts, to something far grander and more mysterious than simply neural firings. It suggests that there is more to reality and to you than can be measured, analyzed, or reduced to physical laws alone. So, the next time you feel a strong emotion, or gaze upon a breathtaking sunset, or simply reflect on the fact that you are, pause, consider the profound, beautiful mystery that is your own consciousness. That inner light that illuminates your personal universe. What if the most profound quest isn't to dissect the brain until it reveals consciousness, but to simply embrace and live fully within the inexplicable wonder of your own subjective experience? And what if, in truly grasping this, you find a new, radical appreciation for the astonishing fact that you are not just a collection of matter, but a living, breathing, experiencing enigma in the heart of the cosmos. You've felt that deep tremor, haven't you? The unsettling realization that your consciousness, your very self, is a profound, inexplicable mystery, a ghost in the biological machine. We've wrestled with time's elasticity, the illusion of the present, and even the dizzying prospect of a simulated universe. But what if the past, that seemingly solid foundation of what was, isn't as fixed and immutable as you believe? What if the choices you made, the paths you took, and especially the paths you didn't take, continue to exist as ghostly possibilities, haunting the edges of your reality, subtly influencing the now in ways you can't perceive? This introduces us to the mind-bending concept of quantum retrocausality and the unsettling idea that the future, in some profound sense, might be able to influence the past. Imagine you're standing before a choice you made years ago, say, deciding whether to move to a new city for a job opportunity. You remember making the decision, weighing the pros and cons, and ultimately choosing to stay. That memory feels solid, unchangeable. But what if the very act of living out your life after that decision, the future experiences you've had, somehow retroactively influenced the probabilistic outcome of that past choice, subtly guiding it towards the path you ultimately took? It's like throwing a dice, and only after seeing the outcome, The intention of your throw somehow reaches back in time to ensure that specific number rolled. Scientifically, retrocausality is a highly controversial and speculative interpretation of certain quantum phenomena. The standard view of causality dictates that cause always precedes effect. However, some experiments in quantum mechanics, particularly those involving entanglement and delayed choice experiments, seem to challenge this strict temporal order. For example, in a delayed choice quantum eraser experiment, the decision made in the future about how to measure entangled particles seems to influence the behavior of those particles in the past, before the decision was even made. It's as if information is traveling backward in time. While there are other interpretations, like non-local realism or superdeterminism, that avoid retrocausality, the retrocausal interpretation suggests that the future isn't entirely open. It can, in a subtle, probabilistic way, reach back and nudge the past. What does this bewildering possibility mean for your personal narrative, your sense of having made free choices, your very understanding of cause and effect? If your future can subtly influence your past, then the linearity of your life story begins to crumble. Does it mean that some choices felt inevitable because the future you had already, in some quantum sense, predisposed the past to unfold that way? It implies that the unlived possibilities, the ghosts of choices not taken, don't simply vanish, but linger as latent probabilistic states, perhaps even retroactively influencing the pathway your life took. It blurs the line between agency and destiny, suggesting a universe where time is not a one-way street, but a complex, interconnected web where influences can flow in both directions. Yet, this isn't an invitation to fatalism, but a profound expansion of your understanding of interconnectedness. If the future can whisper to the past, it suggests a universe of profound coherence, where all moments are intricately woven together, far beyond simple sequential causality. It imbues your present with an even greater significance, as your current experiences are not just shaped by the past, but are actively, albeit subtly, shaping it too. It encourages a perspective where every decision, every outcome, is part of a grander, self-consistent cosmic tapestry, where the tapestry itself might be influencing the threads that make it so. The next time you reflect on a past decision, on a what-if moment, pause. Consider the unseen, improbable threads that might have been woven forward from your future self, subtly influencing the past into the present you inhabit. What if the most profound lesson isn't just that your past shapes your future, but that your unfolding future is also, in some mysterious way, sculpting the very foundations upon which you stand? And what if, in truly grasping this, you find a new, exhilarating sense of belonging within a cosmic dance where all of time is a living, breathing, interconnected whole? You've felt that subtle disquiet, haven't you? The profound instability of the past, seemingly nudged by the future, and the inexplicable nature of your own consciousness. We've explored realities that branch into infinite parallel selves and a universe that might be a mere simulation. But what if the very essence of reality, the underlying truth beneath all physical phenomena, isn't matter or energy at all, but something far more abstract? Something that permeates everything from the smallest subatomic particle to the largest galaxy. What if the universe is fundamentally built on information, and that your reality is, at its deepest level, a complex and dynamic network of bits and algorithms, a vast cosmic computation? This is the core of the it from bit hypothesis, a concept that posits information as the most fundamental constituent of reality, rather than a mere descriptor of it. Imagine your favorite digital photo, On the surface, it's a vibrant image of a cherished memory, but underneath, it's nothing but a vast collection of zeros and ones, tiny pieces of information. Now, stretch this metaphor to the entire cosmos. What if the atoms that make up your hand, the light from distant stars, the very laws of physics that govern motion and gravity? What if all of it, at its most foundational level, is just information? Not information about something, but information as something. This would mean that the universe isn't just described by mathematical laws. It is mathematics, an intricate, self-executing code. Scientifically, the it from bit idea was famously championed by physicist John Archibald Wheeler, who speculated that every physical it, every particle, every field, every law derives its existence from bit binary information, i.e., from yes-no questions, from binary choices. This concept aligns with the modern understanding of physics, especially quantum mechanics. When we observe a quantum particle, its properties are not inherent until measured. They become definite only when information is extracted. The universe seems to behave as if it's constantly performing calculations, evolving from one informational state to the next. The very act of observing collapses possibilities into definite outcomes, as if information is being processed and rendered in real time. Even the laws of thermodynamics, particularly the second law, which states that entropy, a measure of disorder, or, crucially, information content, always increases, hint at information's fundamental role. A black hole, for instance, is thought to be the most efficient information storage device in the universe. Its entropy directly related to its surface area, again hinting at a deep connection between gravity, space, and information. What does this profound reimagining of reality mean for your lived experience, your sense of solidity, your connection to the physical world? If everything is ultimately information, does it make your pain, your joy, your triumphs any less real? Does it reduce you to a mere stream of data, a complex algorithm running on a cosmic computer? It challenges the intuitive notion that matter is primary, shifting the focus to an abstract, invisible layer of reality that underlies everything. Your very body, your thoughts, your memories all become incredibly complex patterns of information, constantly being updated and processed by the universe itself. Yet, this isn't a reduction of your existence. It's an elevation of its profound intricacy. If reality is information, then every interaction, every observation, every moment of consciousness becomes an act of cosmic computation, a dynamic dance of data. It suggests that your subjective experience is not just a byproduct of inert matter, but a sophisticated process of information integration, a uniquely complex algorithm that allows the universe to know itself. It transforms the universe from a static collection of stuff into a living, breathing, self-organizing supercomputer, and you are an integral, conscious part of its ongoing calculation. So, the next time you interact with the world, touching a surface, listening to a sound, or even contemplating a thought, pause. Consider the invisible torrent of information flowing beneath the surface of what you perceive as solid reality. What if the most profound language of the universe isn't spoken in forces and particles, but in the silent, intricate dance of bits, constantly shaping and reshaping your existence? And what if, in truly grasping this, you find a new, exhilarating sense of belonging within a universe that is not just observed, but fundamentally computed, and you, in your unique way, are helping to compute it. You've felt that subtle shift, haven't you? The profound redefinition of reality as an intricate web of information. where bits might be more fundamental than matter itself. We've grappled with time's malleability, the illusion of the present, and the unsettling prospect of a simulated existence. But what if the very act of observing this information, of forming memories and gathering knowledge within your own mind, is mirrored on a cosmic scale? What if the universe itself isn't just processing information, but is actively accumulating it, expanding not just in space, but in its very capacity to hold and remember everything that ever happens within it? This is the core concept of cosmic information growth, and the idea that the universe possesses a kind of memory, constantly increasing with every event that unfolds. Imagine an empty book, limitless in its pages. Every time an event occurs, a star is born, a planet forms, a thought crosses your mind, a new word, a new sentence, a new chapter is added to this cosmic tome. This isn't just about recording what happened. It's about the universe intrinsically becoming that information, its fundamental state changing and growing in complexity with each passing moment. The information isn't merely observed or stored, it is built into the very fabric of existence, expanding the universe's internal memory banks. Scientifically, this idea stems from the deep connections between information, entropy, and the expansion of the universe. Recall that entropy, a measure of disorder, is also understood as a measure of the amount of information needed to describe a system. The second law of thermodynamics states that the total entropy of an isolated system, like the universe, always increases over time. This means the universe is constantly moving towards states of greater disorder, or, conversely, states that require more information to describe. Every interaction, every event, every breaking of symmetry generates new information, adding to the universe's overall informational content. As the universe expands, new degrees of freedom emerge, and the potential for new configurations, information increases. It's not just about space getting bigger. It's about the informational capacity of that space growing. Some theoretical frameworks even explore the idea of an informational universe, where space itself emerges from entanglement and information, constantly evolving and expanding its descriptive content. What does this profound, unsettling concept mean for your personal experience of knowing, remembering, and learning? If the universe is a gigantic, ever-expanding memory, then your own memories, your learning, your accumulated knowledge are not just isolated internal processes. They are tiny, intricate facets of a much grander, cosmic process of information accumulation. Does it imply that every thought you think, every piece of data you process, leaves an indelible mark on the universe's collective informational fabric? It transforms your personal journey of learning and discovery into a microcosm of the universe's own relentless quest for greater complexity and understanding. It shifts your perspective from passively existing in the universe to actively contributing to its evolving informational self. Yet, this isn't a burden of cosmic record-keeping. It's a celebration of your inherent contribution to existence. If the universe is perpetually expanding its memory, then your individual experiences and observations, no matter how small, are not insignificant. They are unique data points, adding to the richness and complexity of the universe's ongoing narrative. It imbues your act of living, of experiencing, of gaining knowledge with a profound cosmic purpose. You are not just consuming information, you are actively generating it, helping to build the very memory of the cosmos. So, the next time you learn something new, or reflect on a cherished memory, or simply take in a new sight or sound, pause. Consider that you are not just acquiring knowledge for yourself, but actively participating in the universe's grand, unending process of remembering and becoming? What if the most profound legacy you can leave isn't just in what you do, but in the unique informational imprint you contribute to the universe's ever-expanding, living memory? And what if, in truly grasping this, you find a new, exhilarating sense of belonging, realizing that you are an integral, conscious contributor to the unfolding, remembered story of everything? You've felt that profound connection, haven't you? That exhilarating sense of contributing to the universe's expanding memory, realizing your every experience adds to its vast cosmic knowledge. We've explored the universe as information, as a simulation, and as an eternally recurring cycle. But now, let's confront a question that truly touches the void. If the universe is so vast, so intricate, so seemingly purposeful in its unfolding, expanding its memory, producing consciousness, weaving complex realities, then what is its ultimate purpose? What is the reason for existence? The grand design behind everything, if there even is one? This is the core of the problem of cosmic teleology, and the unsettling possibility that the universe, in its magnificent indifference, may have no inherent meaning or goal whatsoever. Imagine you've stumbled upon an incredibly complex, self-assembling machine. It builds itself, creates new components, and evolves over unimaginable eons. You can marvel at its engineering, analyze its processes, and even predict its future states. But despite all your understanding of how it works, you can never truly discern why it works, what its ultimate function or objective is. Now, consider the universe itself. It creates stars, forms galaxies, evolves life, and even seems to generate consciousness. You can study its laws, chart its history, and even glimpse its future. But why does it do any of this? What is the point of it all? Philosophically, this question has plagued humanity for millennia. Ancient cultures often attributed cosmic purpose to divine beings or grand overarching narratives. Modern science, however, tends to describe how the universe operates through physical laws and emergent properties, without addressing a why. From a purely scientific standpoint, the universe simply is. It expands, it evolves, it creates, not because it has a goal, but because that's what its fundamental laws dictate. Evolution, for instance, operates without foresight or intention. It's a blind process of adaptation driven by natural selection. The universe, in this view, is a grand, accidental masterpiece, a stunning display of emergent complexity without an inherent design. It's like a magnificent firework display that simply exists to burn brightly and then fade, with no deeper purpose than its own transient existence. What does this profound lack of inherent cosmic purpose mean for your deeply ingrained human need for meaning, for significance, for a reason to exist? If the universe itself is fundamentally indifferent, a beautiful but aimless dance of particles and forces, does it make your own life feel arbitrary, a brief flicker in an uncaring void? It challenges the comforting narrative that your existence is part of a larger plan, a divine tapestry, or a preordained destiny. It can leave you with a stark, almost crushing sense of cosmic loneliness, a feeling that your personal search for meaning must be undertaken in a universe that offers no intrinsic answers, no comforting pre-written script. Yet, this isn't an embrace of nihilism. It's an ultimate act of liberation and empowerment. If the universe has no inherent purpose, then you are free to create your own. Your life isn't about discovering a pre-existing meaning, but about infusing meaning into every moment, every relationship, every act of creation. It shifts the burden of purpose from an external, potentially non-existent cosmic entity to the powerful, creative core of your own being. It transforms the universe from a predetermined play into a vast, open stage where you, the conscious actor, are entirely free to write your own script, define your own values, and assign your own significance. So, the next time you gaze upon the vastness of the cosmos, or ponder the fleeting nature of your own life, pause. Consider the profound, unsettling possibility that the universe offers no answers to the ultimate why. What if the most profound purpose isn't found in a grand, overarching cosmic plan, but in the radical freedom and immense responsibility of forging your own meaning, right here, right now, in a universe that simply is? And what if, in truly grasping this, you find not despair, but an exhilarating sense of self-authorship, recognizing that your life's meaning is a masterpiece you alone can create? You've felt that immense freedom, haven't you? The liberating, yet daunting, realization that if the universe has no inherent purpose, then the meaning of your life becomes a masterpiece you alone can forge. We've journeyed through time's illusions, information as reality, and the profound mystery of consciousness. But now, let's confront a truth that dwarfs all personal meaning, a cosmic inevitability that underlies every joy, every sorrow, every striving. The universe itself, in its current magnificent form, is doomed to end. It will not last forever. Its breath is finite, and its eventual demise will reshape the very fabric of existence into something unrecognizable. This is the core concept of cosmic heat death, a profound and unsettling truth about the universe's ultimate fate. Imagine a grand, intricate clockwork mechanism, wound tightly and ticking away. Every gear turns, every spring recoils, every bell chimes, all creating a beautiful, ordered dance. But with each tick, a tiny bit of energy is lost as heat, diffusing out into the surroundings. Eventually, inevitably, all the energy will have dissipated. The springs will unwind, the gears will cease to turn, and the clock will grind to a halt, cold and silent. This is a powerful analogy for the universe's eventual heat death. Scientifically, the concept of heat death stems directly from the second law of thermodynamics, which states that the total entropy disorder of an isolated system can only increase over time. In simpler terms, energy tends to spread out and become less useful. The universe, while not entirely isolated, is expanding, and this expansion is accelerating. In the far, far distant future, billions and even trillions of years from now, stars will exhaust their fuel and die. Black holes will slowly evaporate through Hawking radiation, and the universe will continue to expand, cooling and diluting its remaining energy. Eventually, all matter will have decayed into its most fundamental particles, spread out across an unimaginably vast, cold, and empty cosmos. There will be no more energy gradients to drive processes, no more stars to warm planets, no more interactions to create new structures. The universe will reach a state of maximum entropy, a uniform, featureless, unimaginably cold expanse where nothing ever happens. This is the heat death, not a violent end, but a slow, inexorable fade into eternal stillness. What does this profound, cosmic inevitability mean for your fleeting, precious life, for your aspirations, for the legacy you hope to leave? If the grand cosmic tapestry will eventually unravel into a cold, desolate void, does it render your personal struggles and triumphs meaningless? Does it make the vibrant, intricate dance of life on Earth feel like a temporary, insignificant flicker against an backdrop of ultimate oblivion? It challenges the very notion of permanent achievement, of lasting impact, replacing it with the humbling awareness that all things, even galaxies and superclusters, are ultimately transient. It forces you to confront the ultimate impermanence of everything you hold dear, including the very laws of physics as you know them. Yet, this isn't an invitation to despair over ultimate cosmic futility. It's an urgent, radical call to embrace the beauty and significance of this finite moment. If the universe itself is destined to fade, then the existence of complex structures, of life, of consciousness, of you, in this brief, vibrant window of time is an even more astonishing miracle. It transforms your fleeting existence into a rare and precious gift. It imbues every moment of connection, every act of creation, every experience of beauty, with profound significance, precisely because it is temporary. It liberates you from the illusion of eternity and sharpens your focus on the profound value of the here and now. So, the next time you gaze up at the night sky, filled with countless stars, or simply feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, pause, consider the universe's transient breath, its inevitable fade. What if the most profound meaning isn't found in what lasts forever, but in the exquisite, vibrant dance that occurs within the precious, finite window of existence? And what if, in truly grasping this, you find a new, fierce appreciation for the magnificent, fleeting miracle that is your life, lived in the brief, beautiful dawn of a universe destined for eternal night? You've felt that chilling inevitability, haven't you? The slow, inexorable fade of the universe into the cold, featureless expanse of heat death. We've grappled with time's finitude, the universe's ultimate indifference, and the profound weight of creating your own meaning in a transient cosmos. But what if the end isn't just a slow cooling, but a return to something even more fundamental, something that whispers of the universe's very beginning? What if the universe, in its ultimate state of maximum entropy, truly becomes nothing, just empty space, but a state devoid of all properties, all dimensions, all existence? This introduces the unsettling concept of true nothingness and the terrifying philosophical puzzle of why there is something rather than nothing. Imagine the absolute absence of everything. No space, no time, no particles, no energy, no laws, no consciousness. It's not a dark void. A void implies space. It's not silence. Silence implies sound could exist. It's the complete, utter, baffling lack of any property, any potential, any definition. Now, consider that this absolute non-existence might be the universe's ultimate destination, or perhaps its enigmatic origin. If the universe expanded from a singularity, a point of infinite density and zero volume, can it, in its final state, truly revert to a state of absolute nothingness, effectively erasing its entire history? Philosophically, the question of why there is something rather than nothing is considered one of the most profound and enduring mysteries, while physics describes how something like the Big Bang might have arisen from a singularity. It struggles with the question of why the singularity itself existed, or why fundamental laws and particles sprang into being from what could have been absolute nothingness. Some philosophical arguments suggest that nothingness is inherently unstable, a state so devoid of properties that it is forced to fluctuate into existence. Others argue that nothing is not truly empty, but a plenum of possibilities from which something can emerge. The unsettling aspect here is the possibility that the universe, in its final, maximal entropy state, might revert to a form of this absolute nothingness, a dissolution not just of order and energy, but of existence itself. What does this profound confrontation with absolute nothingness mean for your personal sense of being, for your fear of oblivion, for your deepest desire for permanence? If the universe itself can dissolve into non-existence, does it diminish the very act of existing, making your consciousness a fleeting spark against an ultimate backdrop of cosmic erasure? It challenges the intuitive belief that existence is always preferable to non-existence, forcing you to contemplate a state beyond even emptiness. It can invoke a deep existential dread, a sense of ultimate fragility, where everything you cherish, every memory, every creation, could ultimately become unmade, swallowed by a return to the void. Yet, this isn't an invitation to despair over the void. It's a radical affirmation of the miracle of being. If the default state of reality might truly be nothingness, then the very fact that something exists, that stars burn, that planets form, that life blossoms, that you are conscious, and reading this sentence is not just an event, but a profound, inexplicable grace. It transforms your existence from a given into an astonishing gift, a momentary triumph over the silent language of nothingness. It liberates you from the pursuit of permanent meaning in an inherently impermanent universe, instead focusing on the profound value of any existence, however fleeting. So, the next time you feel the undeniable pulse of life within you, the concrete reality of the world around you, or the joy of a simple breath, pause. Consider the unfathomable depths of absolute nothingness from which everything might have sprung, and to which it might eventually return. What if the most profound appreciation isn't for what endures forever, but for the astonishing, inexplicable fact that anything exists at all, even for a moment, in defiance of the silent language of nothingness? And what if, in truly grasping this, you find a new, radical sense of wonder and gratitude for the sheer miracle of being? You've felt that profound, almost terrifying encounter with the absolute, haven't you? The chilling whisper of true nothingness and the inexplicable miracle that anything exists at all. We've journeyed through time's illusions, the cosmic heat, death, and the universe as a vast computational memory. But what if, amidst all this unfolding and unraveling, there are fundamental aspects of reality that are inherently unknowable, forever beyond the grasp of your perception and even the most advanced scientific inquiry? What if the universe harbors intrinsic limits to knowledge, secrets it will never yield, leaving you forever gazing upon an edge you can never cross? This introduces the unsettling concept of epistemic limits and the profound realization that there are truths you are simply not designed to comprehend. Imagine a highly intelligent fish swimming in a vast ocean. It can understand currents, perceive light and shadow, even navigate by subtle shifts in temperature. It can develop sophisticated theories about its aquatic world. But it can never truly grasp the concept of air, or land, or stars, not because these things don't exist, but because its very biology and sensory apparatus are fundamentally limited to its oceanic environment. Now, consider yourself within the vast ocean of the universe. What if your three-dimensional perception, your linear experience of time, and the very structure of your brain place similar, inescapable boundaries on what you can ever truly know about the cosmos? Scientifically, there are several established concepts that point to these inherent limits. The speed of light, for instance, is not just a speed limit for travel, but an information barrier. You can only ever perceive events within your light cone, meaning anything outside that cone, no matter how real, remains forever beyond your direct observation. The event horizons of black holes are another example. Information that crosses an event horizon is, in principle, lost to the outside universe forever. Even more profoundly, Gödel's incompleteness theorems in mathematics suggest that within any sufficiently complex formal system like the mathematical framework describing our universe, there will always be true statements that cannot be proven or disproven within that system. This hints that even a complete understanding of the universe's mathematical underpinnings might inherently contain unprovable truths. Furthermore, the very nature of quantum mechanics suggests a fundamental probabilistic reality, where certain properties are intrinsically uncertain until measured, implying that there might be no deeper, deterministic reality to uncover. What does this profound, unsettling realization of inherent unknowability mean for your relentless human drive to understand, to discover, to master? If there are truths that are forever hidden, concepts that are fundamentally inexpressible within your current cognitive framework, does it diminish your pursuit of knowledge? Does it imply that your quest for ultimate answers is ultimately futile, doomed to hit an impenetrable wall? It challenges the Enlightenment ideal of complete scientific understanding, replacing it with a humbling acceptance of profound mystery. It can leave you feeling small, not just in the vastness of space, but in the incomprehensible depths of existence itself, perpetually on the outside looking in. Yet, this isn't an invitation to intellectual surrender or despair. It's a profound invitation to cultivate wonder and humility. If there are things we are simply not meant to know, it suggests that the universe holds mysteries so grand, so alien to our current comprehension, that they transcend our very ability to formulate the right questions. It liberates you from the exhausting pursuit of absolute answers and allows you to find beauty and awe in the persistent, luminous unknown. It transforms your quest for knowledge into an ongoing journey of exploration, where the joy is in the seeking, not necessarily in the finding of ultimate, singular truths. So, the next time you feel the urge to understand everything, to neatly categorize and explain the world around you, pause. Consider the universe's secret keepers, the inherent boundaries that might forever guard its deepest truths. What if the most profound wisdom isn't found in knowing all the answers, but in truly embracing the magnificent, humbling fact that some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved, forever inviting you into a deeper sense of awe? And what if, in truly grasping this, you find a new, expansive appreciation for the universe, not just for what it reveals, but for the breathtaking grandeur of what it chooses to keep hidden? You've felt that humbling silence, haven't you? The profound acceptance that some of the universe's truths are forever beyond your grasp, guarded by epistemic veils you were simply not designed to pierce. We've journeyed through the mind-bending realities of time, the cosmic scale of information, the ultimate end of all things, and the baffling miracle of existence itself. But now, as we draw to a close, let us weave these unsettling threads into a final, empowering tapestry. What if all these paradoxes, these unsettling truths, are not meant to trap your mind in fear or futility, but to illuminate a deeper, more profound reality, that your very being, your conscious experience, is not merely a passive observer in this bewildering cosmos, but an active, integral participant in the universe's continuous process of becoming. This is the ultimate reframing, where the unsettling truths coalesce into a powerful call to embrace your inherent role in the ceaseless, emergent unfolding of reality. Imagine an intricate, self-weaving loom, constantly spinning new threads, creating new patterns, evolving its own design. You, in your conscious awareness, are not just a pattern on that loom, but also a tiny, essential shuttle, moving back and forth, contributing to the creation of the fabric itself. Your perception of time, whether linear or looping, is the unfolding of threads, the quantum foam, the holographic projection, the informational bedrock. These are the fundamental fibers and their encoded instructions. The potential of parallel selves and the growth of cosmic memory are the endless possibilities of new patterns and the accumulation of woven design, and the ultimate heat death, the silent language of nothingness, and the universe's inscrutable purpose are the inevitable limits, the grand scale of the loom, and the mystery of why it weaves at all, scientifically. While no single theory unifies all these concepts into a grand, purposeful design, the convergent insights from quantum mechanics, cosmology, and neuroscience increasingly point towards a universe that is far from static or predetermined in a rigid sense. The role of observation in quantum mechanics suggests that consciousness is not merely a passive recipient of reality, but actively participates in its manifestation, collapsing possibilities into definite outcomes. The emergent properties seen across all scales of existence, from complex molecules arising from simple atoms, to life from chemistry, to consciousness from neural networks, suggest a universe that is not just is, but is perpetually becoming. It implies a dynamic, creative cosmos that constantly generates novelty, not always from a predefined script, but through complex, self-organizing processes where interaction and information are key drivers. Your existence isn't a final product, it's a living, breathing process within a living, breathing universe. What does this final, profound synthesis mean for your daily life, your decisions, your very sense of power and responsibility? If your consciousness is a crucial nexus in the universe's ongoing becoming, then every thought you think, every choice you make, every perception you hold, is not just a personal experience, but a subtle, yet significant, contribution to the fabric of reality itself. It transforms you from a spectator into a co-creator, a vital participant in the cosmic dance. It dissolves the anxieties of predetermined fate or cosmic indifference, replacing them with an exhilarating sense of agency within a universe that is constantly, dynamically unfolding. You are not just being lived, you are living, and through that living, you are helping the universe to become so. The next time you feel the weight of existence, the confusion of paradox, or the daunting scale of the cosmos, pause. Consider that these unsettling truths are not meant to diminish you, but to awaken you to your true, magnificent role. What if the most profound liberation isn't found in escaping the paradoxes, but in embracing them, recognizing that they illuminate the dynamic, interactive nature of reality and your unique place within it? And what if, in truly grasping this, you find a new, radical sense of purpose, to live consciously, to choose authentically, to experience fully, knowing that every moment of your being is an essential, creative act in the universe's ceaseless, magnificent process of becoming? Your journey through these unsettling truths has not been to trap your mind, but to free it, to open it to the boundless, vibrant reality that you are actively helping to weave, right here, right now, on the loom of inevitable becoming.